Skye Squad, we are back in the building. It's your boy DJRichieSkye, and we got to talk some reality TV news. So, first on the list is going to be what really happened between Mike Hill and Cynthia Bailey that ended the chill that swept the nation. Okay? Because everything was so chill. Everything was chill until it wasn't. So, what exactly led to the demise of this relationship? Okay, Cynthia is getting candid in an interview with Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judge on their podcast, Two T's in a Pod. Okay, she was a guest on there, and People Magazine and other outlets are reporting on exactly what was said. So, let's dive in, shall we? Let's go ahead and get into, all the biz naive of what's really going on. Okay, what else is going on? So Cynthia Bailey says this. She says, I felt like we weren't friends anymore. I felt like it was just going towards, we're just not going to be friends if we didn't pump the brakes. This is not my first rodeo. I think friendship just has to be there in a marriage. Like, love is great, but friendship has to be there. I truly want to be with my best friend. Okay. She says she does have her good days and her bad days. She says, I don't think either one of us regret our decision to move forward in the way that we have decided to move forward. It's not final yet. We're still going through the process. So we're still technically married. For me, there's just a lot of respect stuff on my end that I still feel like he's my husband. I took my ring off the day of the announcement but up until then, I had it on all this time. Although we were going through some things, it's just weird, you guys. It's just weird, okay? So to me, I don't know if that's just the full story. I'm just being it 100%. And granted, she's a grown woman. He's a grown man. They don't have to give us the full story. Let me first acknowledge that. These are two grown people who can do whatever they want as they choose, however they choose to do it, right? That's fair, right? That's fair. And it's also fair if she doesn't want to share that part of her life anymore because she's no longer on reality TV. So she doesn't owe us anything. However, semicolon. We as viewers want to know what happened because, this relationship was such a huge thing. The wedding was such a huge spectacle. It was such a huge part of her final season on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, as well as her moving on. And everything, again, was just hashtag chill, this and that. And they were so involved in each other's social media spaces. And we just saw them together as we probably would with any husband and wife or, partnership that results in marriage. But, I think because they were so visible, we as an audience or as a community of followers and people who love them, we really can't help but wonder, like, what really happened. And this whole we just weren't friends anymore thing, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree that you should definitely be friends with your partner. But I also think that, in order for that to, what broke down that friendship, okay? What led them to stop being friends? That's what I want to know. That's what I think most people want to know. And I'm just keeping it all the way 100. Again, I respect the fact if if that's all that they want to give us, that's all that they have to give us, right? But I definitely feel like there's more to the story, okay? Because no, I think there could be many factors that lead to the end of a marriage, but I think that it would happen that you would stop being friends so soon after the marriage is what is a little bit hard to swallow. Now, there were some of you guys that felt like there were signs leading up to this, and I want to know what you guys think now. Do you think that there's more to the story, or do you think that that's just it? Or do you think that there were you know, those little things that were kind of happening over time, and even things that we saw on the show with some of, you know, him and his, you know, how he talked about his past with his female friends and stuff like that. Do you think any of that contributed to the demise of their relationship? I mean, we hate to see any marriage breakup, so that's always difficult. Okay. So let's move on to our next story. We got to talk about Potomac. Now, a lot of you guys may not recognize Gizelle with the dark hair. How do you think she looks with the dark hair? I think she looks great always, nonetheless. Both of the ladies look great here. I always try to pick photos where I feel like they look like, I mean, people look glamorous and or striking in some way, shape, or form. I try. Okay. So that's kind of a little bit of behind the scenes about how I choose photos. But anyway, having said that, you know, we get this scene in the upcoming episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac between Ashley and Candiace. Now, this is a refreshing scene when you see it. And I'm going to actually put a description in the description of this video. I'm going to put a link to OMFG Reality TV where you can watch the scene. It's in its entirety. But I'm going to give you a little bit of detail, and we're going to take a little look at or listen to exactly what Candiace says, you know, in this scene that I find to be problematic. And I'm gonna we'll get to this. But in the scene, you know, they talk about a whole bunch of things. You know, Candiace spills some tea about Karen allegedly running around the streets with some man or whatever. So it feels like everybody's relationship is being called into question by somebody else on this show, which is so wild to me. But anyway, so you have Candiace spilling tea about Karen running around the streets with somebody other than Ray, allegedly. Let me put this badge up here. And I'm sure Karen on her YouTube channel is going to probably have to address that on Sunday. So we'll see how that pans out. Because, you know, Karen and that YouTube channel that went viral, okay? Because she was talking about how she don't F with Sharice. Meanwhile, in this clip, Ashley asks, you know, has Chris thought about maybe just, you know, apologizing for making Gizelle feel uncomfortable or what, you know, and whatnot, just to kind of smooth things over. And I kind of wondered that too. Like, you know, given that we have already addressed in our minds that there are two issues. One, her allegation of feeling uncomfortable, okay? And then the allegation that he was trying to see if she could get with it, which hasn't been revealed to the other ladies, at least from my observance on the show. I would only think that they would have seen this now that they've watched the episode, because I don't think Robin mentioned that. And if she did, we don't know that she mentioned it. And the other thing that Gizelle said was that he was a sneaky link. Now, for that part, I feel like she might owe him an apology if she does feel like, you know, he ain't try nothing on her. He ain't do nothing crazy. He ain't say nothing crazy, and he left before anything crazy could even think to occur. So for me, I feel like, okay, two wrongs don't make a right, and I feel like she wrong if she's feeling like that. So here's the thing. This is what ends up happening. All right. Candiace says, well, Chris no longer wants to come around because of this whole situation. And then she goes on to say this. She goes on to say, well, I've been around Gizelle long enough to know that she says and does things to plot against other people in this group. So I'm paraphrasing, but what better way than to listen for ourselves? Okay. So let's just take a little listen.
Know Gizelle. I have sat and listened to Gizelle scheme and plan all kinds of shenanigans around people in this group.
Listen again.
I have sat and listened to Gizelle scheme and plan all kinds of shenanigans.
All kinds of schemes and plans and shenanigans with things in this group. Now, this is not the first time that Candiace has mentioned this, okay, to us. We also heard it in the live that she did about maybe 2-3 years ago when she was talking about the whole situation with I think Gizelle allegedly plotting at that point in time with some of the other girls way back in the day. Now, to hear this being stated on the show and then to sort of now put it into context, do you really think that Chris should apologize? Because it appears to be, based on the scene, as though Candiace believes that this is Gizelle's attempt to plot and make something happen for the sake of story on the show, okay? Which would explain to me why Candiace is giving her zero energy and why she went to production to complain about her husband not being available for this type of shenanigan and Michael Darby being available for it. But Michael Darby had to said, head to the no, and then ran off to Vegas, okay, where the camera crews is not there he free to do as he pleases and he chooses, okay, according to Ashley. All right. Now, notice we ain't seen Michael Darby at all, right? So again, if this is the thing, okay, if the thing is that Gizelle allegedly plots and schemes, as Candiace is saying, it would make sense that Chris would no longer show up. But then also, too, you would have to, Candiace did say in a previous episode, she let her guard down with Gizelle. And I tried to say it last season. I said, Eddie was this season. Chris is going to be next. Okay. If that is the case. Wow. When you look at the layers of this situation, it's just so mind-boggling and deep. I want to know what your thoughts are. You know, what are your thoughts about this whole situation? I, for one, still have been hoping and wishing that Rat-tat-tat-tat Candiace will pop up and curse her out or something like that. Because I feel like if that's really the case, and you feel like she plotting and scheming and doing shenanigans, then I mean, a good cursing out might be the way to go. Okay. Let me know what you guys think again in the conversation down in the chat down below. I'm excited about Potomac this season. I mean, it's the way it's unraveling. I just feel like they are giving what no other Housewives show on the air is able to give in terms of the multiple stories, dynamics, levels of tension, friendships, and you have these yin and yangs with like the Ashley and the Candiace, who kind of remind me of a younger version of like a Gizelle and a Karen, right? I mean, it's just kind of like, again, it's a yin and a yang. You have the yin and yang of Karen and Gizelle. You kind of now have a yin and yang of Wendy and Robin. You kind of have a yin and yang between Ashley and Candiace, and what it seems as though you're going to have a yin and yang between Mia and Jacqueline, with Charisse square in the middle of all of the chaos, and sprinkle in a little bit of Peter Thomas, and baby, you got a show, okay? So anyway, let me know what you guys think about it. I'm excited about Potomac this season. I just thought that this was a fascinating element to add to the mix. With that being said, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and I will catch you in the next video.